Good evening, or good afternoon, good lunchtime to most of you, I guess. Thought I'd jump on because I haven't done this in a little while now. It's probably about 5 or 6 weeks since I've done a live stream. And so I thought I'd jump on and see everybody and have a chat about a few things. I've got some unboxings to do today, some things I've left here to share with you guys, and 2 rankings that I want to do. One of my favorite films that's been released in the cinemas up until this point, and also a top 10 of my favorite physical media releases that have come out up until this point. So yeah, lots to get through. I've got about an hour and a quarter. So hopefully those of you that are on your lunch hour at the moment, you'll be able to hang in there while I get through this stuff. But thank you very much for joining me, folks. Yeah, I haven't done a live for around probably about 5 or 6 weeks now. And that's just because of one thing and another, you know, work and being away and TSL and things like that. And I do want to make this a regular kind of weekly live stream, because the live streams have done really well for us as well as the content that I've been putting out there, the physical media reviews. I know the Jaws clip that I snipped from the stream Frank and I did the other night is doing really well on its own on this channel. I wanted to use that as a bridge to get people over to TSL, because I know there's a lot of people that subscribe to Mr. Sandsman that aren't necessarily aware of TSL. So I thought I'd put the Jaws clip on the channel and try and port a few people over to TSL. So it seems to be working. There's a few people that have gone over there. But yeah, it's kind of got a lot of traction in the last 24 hours. There's over 1,000 views, which for this channel is really good. So thank you to everybody that tuned into that episode. I'm just going to have a look at, see who's in the chat at the moment. Who have we got in here at the moment? We got K-Rock, Jex, Craig Jex, Chester Franklin, John Jones, Darth Marto, Jordan's here. Hey, Jordan. Deshaun's here. He says, hey, Darren, I've been watching the Diddy trial. It's a slip and slide party. Yeah, I gather. I've watched a little bit of it. I don't really want to get into too much about that on here. Tiona's here as well. Chester's here. I think I mentioned Chester already. Nick's here. Hey, Nick. How you doing? Duke's here. Blake's here. Hey, Blake. CM's here. Hey, Chris. Simon C. He says, hello, everyone. What's the bookies' odds on Darren doing the show in nothing but his boxer shorts? There you go. They're not boxers, but they are shorts. It is hot at the moment. It's a little cooler today because it rained last night. So fortunately, my studio's not as hot as it has been. But yeah, when I was doing the stream with Frank the other night, it was so hot. I must have lost a few pounds during that. I was soaked. I had to get changed, shower, all that kind of stuff afterwards. I was absolutely soaked after that stream. And it's just because I have aircon in here, but I can't put it on during the stream, or else you guys won't be able to hear me. It'll interfere with the microphone, and yeah, it'll be a bit of a mess. But Blake says, 5 minutes late. This is totally unacceptable. I think I came on a couple of minutes after 6 o'clock, but played some music for a bit first while I was just setting up. So... but good to see you, Blake, anyway. Fat Bookie 75 says, new here, so hello to you all. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. You're very welcome. We have a good community here. And thank you for clicking on this live stream. Logan Reynolds says, live streams are the best. Yeah, not in this heat, though. That's the thing. I'm actually going away for a couple of days over to Spain. And they've been having some shocking weather. It's like 110 or something stupid over there at the moment. So I don't know what, I've not coped over here. I'm going to go over to Spain for a few days, and it's going to be even worse. But at least they have kind of consistent aircon, whereas I only have aircon in this room pretty much. Anyway. Craig says, missed the Video Nasty Saturday afternoon streams. They were gold. They are coming back. I have a few guests lined up, and they are going to come back probably in a few weeks' time. Actually, once I get everything, yeah, it's just been so busy with various things. 2 channels, and like I say, work. For those of you know what I do, it's been mental for a few months because of certain releases that we've had, and that continues for a little while. But I intend to bring that back in a few weeks. I have at least 2 people lined up that want to talk video nasties with me, and I'm sure Nigel will definitely come back and talk some more, because he's an absolute mine of information on these things, and he's actually just started his own series. If you go to Rock God 2004 on YouTube, he's just started his own series where he's going through all the video nasties, section 1, deep dive, starting with A. He's already dropped the first episode, which is absurd. He did like a 40-minute episode on absurd. And I think his next episode is anthropophagus. So it's going to take him a while to get through them all, but he promised that he'd do this series, and he's started doing it now. So Rock God 2004 on YouTube, go check him out, because he does some really, really cool content. And like I said, he knows so much about the video nasties, it's untrue. It's good having him on, because he brings a lot of fun to the channel, and also, like I say, a mine of knowledge when it comes to the nasties. So I'll hopefully get him back on to do that. And we're also going to do a video on Arrow's top Blu-ray releases as well. So that should be fun. What else have we got here? Jordan says, are you ordering Bad Lieutenant from 101, Darren? I may do. I don't mind Bad Lieutenant. I remember when that first came out, I didn't really know anything about it. It wasn't until afterwards I discovered it was Abel Ferrara who did Driller Killer, and didn't he do Miss 45 as well? I think he did, maybe. Am I right in thinking that? Yes, I am, I think. And yeah, maybe I will order that one. Yeah, I did notice that it had come out the other day, that there was a nice box set going around of it. Deshaun says, I'm locked in with all your channels. Thank you, Deshaun. Hey, Tiona. Beach Dad. Hello, Beach Dad. Good to see you again. Fat Bookie 75 says 100 to 1. Okay. Or 1 in 100, whatever that is. It's freaking hot. Give us, man, a pass. Shorts are comfy. Oh, yeah. Oh, you all taking a piss out of my shorts? Yeah, no, I've had to wear them over these last few days. It's essential. Hey, Alan, how are you doing? Good to see you in here. I'm very well, thank you. Cooling down today. 38 people in here at the moment. Good to see everyone. CM says, imagine needing rain so badly. Not in bloody England. Name that movie. Imagine needing rain so badly. Not in bloody England. Oh, wow, I'm going to get tripped up with this now. God. Let me know. K-Rock the Phantom says, you can have a channel devoted to making cheese and we will subscribe. Well, you never know. In fact, do you remember a European vacation when every channel on the TV just had cheese? Cheese or snow? Would love to see a poster collection video or two. I have so many posters in the loft. Some really cool stuff as well from the 25 years that I've been working where I'm working. I've managed to get my hands on quite a lot. But the loft is full at the moment. Until we clear it out properly, I won't be able to get my hands on them. But I intend to put a few more up in here. In fact, I've just had somebody in today who's designing some shelving for this room for me. He's going to fit it all out, and I'm going to redo different parts of it. So you may see a change or two over the coming weeks in here. K-Rock says you can have a channel. Oh, no, we did that one. We did that one as well. Craig says, did you go to the Iron Maiden show on Saturday? Gutted I didn't go. I heard it was one of their best gigs. Will console myself at Slayer in London on Sunday. Yeah, I heard Slayer are playing Finsbury Park on Sunday. That should be pretty good fun. I did go to Iron Maiden on Saturday. It was a nightmare getting in. It was hot. It was in the 90s. We had to queue for a long time. It took us long enough to find the right entrance to go in. Luckily, I know somebody who sorted me out with really good tickets, and so I was in the sort of circle at the front of the stadium, and they were brilliant. I was shocked, to be honest. I was shocked at how old they looked because I haven't seen them live for a good 10 years, and I was a bit taken back by how much they'd all aged. But they could still play. They were fantastic. So it was a good show. It was a really good show. I had to leave when the encore hit. Otherwise, I would have never have gotten home. But it was a really good gig. And great to see them just play music from between sort of like 1980 and 1990. But can you believe it? 50 years they've been going. Since they started in a pub in the mid-1970s. 50 years Iron Maiden have been going. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Gibboni66 says, looking forward to the Arrow countdown. You Brits and your Region Bs always get the better cover art. I always think the opposite. I always think you guys always get the better cover art. Let me move out of the way. I'm covering my face up here with this. I always think you guys always get the better cover art. But no, we are quite lucky. We are quite lucky with Arrow Video. And have been for a long time. I know that they've only, in the last few years, they've set up in the US. But yeah, they do some great stuff, as do Second Sight, who are, as you know, fantastic as well. Blake says, Darren, before you get started, what do you think of Interstellar? I think it may be the greatest movie ever made. Really? I wasn't a fan. I think it's probably my least favorite Nolan film. It was kind of... I don't know. It was like 3 hours to find out that he was stuffed behind a bookcase. I wasn't a massive fan of Interstellar. I really wasn't. I mean, I prefer, movies like Dunkirk and what's the one now? Oh my God, I forgot the name of it. I'm just bleeding bored as well. That one, Inception. I love Nolan, I really do, but Interstellar for me, I think, didn't work as well as I preferred Tenet to Interstellar. Yeah. Simon says we've been having a lot of sweaty Buster Browns lately. Yeah, can you believe? I had no idea what Buster Browns were. They were, as Frank said, a type of shoe, whereas I always thought he was talking about his balls. Who knew? Evil Alex says, I need to frame my posters. I always put them up raw and they decay over time. In frames, they look great. Problem there is so many films I love and only so much space on the wall. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, my posters up here have all got some sort of meaning behind them. They've got some sentimental value, particularly two of them. That one there is the one which is a double bill of 70s horror films, which were released on the weekend that I was born. And my wife found that she researched what movies came out the week I was born, and she found this double bill of horror films, which are The Legend of Hell House and Vault of Horror, which was November in 1973. And then the Creepshow one was also given to me. It's an original Creepshow 1 sheet, which was given to me on my 50th as well. And then the Creepshow, which you can see there, that one, there's a Mondo one of the crate. Mr. Rose, Paul Rose, the Count, you'll see him in the chat now and again. He gave me that for Christmas maybe 10, 15 years ago or something like that. And then the other one there is, you can't really see it, but it's a American Wolf in London Mondo, which it's like a kind of picture of Piccadilly Circus from above with the werewolf running through the streets. It's a really cool picture. And of course, American Wolf in London is what inspired Frank and I to do our YouTube channel, TSL Movie Podcast. K-Rock the Fan says, Up the Bloody Irons, love Maiden, favourite album is Somewhere in Time. Yeah, great album, great album. I think Seventh Son of a Seventh Son is probably mine. Alan says, Darren, your favourite 4K releases of the year this far? I'm doing if you hang around, Alan, I'm doing my 10 favourite ones in this episode so far. It was difficult to do, and yeah, it's. I'm still not convinced I've got them in the right order, but at least I've managed to section out 10. Actually, 10 and one honorable mention because I haven't had chance to open it yet. It literally arrived this morning, so I didn't want to stick it in there just in case when I get round to watching it, it's a disaster, which I'm sure it won't be. Darth Mato, Darren, did you get the Sean Connery Bond set? Wait and see. Darth Martel says 2001 clears Interstellar. Gorgut says, I thought you were saying that it's absurd that he's done a video. No, Absurd is the first the video that Nigel's done. And hey Zara, how you doing? Howdy. And Evil Alex, Brandon says, Evil Alex, that same problem I have. Almost no more room on my walls and I have to decide what to swap out. Yeah, it's time to, I think pretty soon I'll swap some of these out. I do have a Halloween re-release quad poster. I also have a Jaws re-release poster, which I want to put up at some point. And I also want to put up my Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Daniel Craig, Rooney Mara poster, which is, when you guys see it, it's fantastic. It really is. It's one that never got released in cinemas. We mocked it up and it never saw the light of day, I don't think. But it's a great poster. Brandon Collins says, Tenet would have to be his weakest for me, but I do enjoy it. The Prestige is also underrated. Craig Jack says, speaking of artwork, when are Warner Brothers going to release the artwork for Elm Street 4K box set? If they could use the old Graham Humphreys UK art from the 80s, it would look amazing. I'd be surprised if they did that because I would imagine that whatever they do is going to go out across the world. And they didn't use that artwork in the US. I don't know what we're going to get. They're taking their time. I do remember seeing last year that I think it was like a PowerPoint presentation of Warner Brothers. It was like a snapshot. And I think that the date for the box set release was around about late September. There's still no release date for it, to my knowledge. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but there doesn't appear to be a release date. But I have it on pre-order, and it's so expensive, though. For the sixth film, I mean, hopefully they're doing a lot of work on it. And Warner's have been knocking it out of the park this year with their work. On, well, some titles that we'll talk about in a minute or two, but they've been fantastic. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they've really dug deep on this one and we're going to get a real killer box set. Okay, right. I'm going to start with, let me start with, what am I going to start with? Let me do my best theatrical films of 2025 to date. Now, couple of things here. I haven't seen Mission Impossible. Otherwise, that would be in there. And the other thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to include movies that I've been involved with. Just parking them aside. I don't want to come across like I'm leaning into them too much or anything. So I'm going to start with. Let me just pull this up, and I'm going to start with The Monkey. This is my number 10, which was, and bearing in mind the way that they marketed this film, which was leaning heavily into the gore and the kills and what you're going to see and all that kind of stuff, I just felt like it didn't quite deliver in the end. I thought the first half of the movie was terrific. It really, I liked the relationship between the two kids, and they have this toy and it tears the family apart after a series of deaths. Very sort of Final Destination in the way that it played out. But once we got to the kind of the grown up, the boys as they grown up, Theo James is, you know, I think it's a dual role, isn't it, that he has? I just felt that it started to lose its way. And especially when Rohan Campbell came into it, it sort of went off the rails. I didn't fully understand his character, in all honesty. And a lot of people I've spoken to afterwards didn't really get that character and the motivation and also the look of that character as well in that stupid wig. But yeah, it was okay. It had some really kind of fun moments, but I guess ultimately didn't live up to all of our expectations. 78% with the critics, but audiences had a 56% score on Rotten Tomatoes. So, yeah, I mean, it did well, and it's nice that Osgood Perkins is making a real name for himself after Long Legs. And also, he's got another title coming along fairly soon as well, which the name escapes me, but he did trail it at the end of The Monkey. So he seems to be kind of knocking horror films out of the park at the moment. Shamrock says he really detests steelbooks. I'll wait on the Standard Elm Street release. Really, I quite like steelbooks. Okay, next up on my list, I have Companion, which I actually really liked. A shame that they gave away the twist to this movie so early on in the trailer. I think it was the second trailer that we got through. They sort of laid all their cards on the table and said, "Oh yeah, this is an AI-based sex doll essentially that's owned by Jack Quaid, and starts to get a bit of a conscience and realizes and kind of takes revenge on him and his friends for the way that he's treated her for all this time." Fun little film. Really did enjoy it. I think Sophie Thatcher was great in it as well. A name, to watch for the future, I think. And she was great she was in Heretic, wasn't she, I think, which is another great film but that was out last year, so it doesn't make this ranking. But yeah. Companion, I really, really did enjoy. People are going to spit feathers at me now for my next choice, but I really did enjoy Heart Eyes. I thought it was I love slasher films anyway, and I love when people play around with slasher films and kind of take them away from their usual formula. Take this poster that came out, for example, which is clearly inspired by The Burning, the moment in The Burning where Cropsey rises up with the shears. And I love it for that. I love that they had all these little cool little ideas with this film. I thought some of the gore was on point. The fact that it blended genres. You had this kind of rom-com / slasher movie. And it was just something different. I found it fun. And I know a lot of people say they guessed who the killer was quite early on. I actually didn't. I don't think I did. And for that, I really quite enjoyed it. I thought it was something different and new. And yeah, as Evil Alex says, a very burning poster. It is, yeah. And I thought the look of the slasher in this film, I'm trying to remember what his name was now. Was it? I can't remember what it was now. It was a short name. Yeah, the look of him in that, almost like a collector type vibe going on, but with those illuminated eyes. I really thought it was quite unique. And I've only seen the film once, but I am looking forward to revisiting again. But there's a lot of people. It has a lot of haters, does this? Brandon says, loved Heart Eyes. It was a really fun little movie. Mason Gooding is going to be a major star, plus Jordana Brewster still looks amazing. Heck, thank you. Heck was the name. I was going to say Sec or something like that, but it was Heck, wasn't it? Was the name of the killer. I know you didn't like it, Zara, but then again, each to their own. I enjoyed some of the kills. The winery scenes were really clever. Yeah, that was with the gigantic wine press. Zara says, I do weight your views on Clown in a Cornfield as a slasher fan. Yeah, I'm going to watch it soon, actually. I'm going to watch it soon. In fact, maybe I'll be able to watch it on the plane. We'll see. Simon C says, the last time I watched something with a rogue sex doll, it was the episode of Only Fools and Horses with the explosive dolls, Lusty Linda and Erotic Estelle. And wasn't like Polythene Pam one of them as well? I remember that episode. They were all filled with propane with these blow-up dolls. Classic Christmas episode, I think that was. John the Ball says Heart Eyes was good. Ending was a little soft, but decent movie. Yeah. And we didn't get a 4K version in the UK, so I've held back on buying this on physical media until something more substantial comes along, which I'm sure it will eventually. Okay. Next film is another one that divided opinion. It's Wolfman. There was a few reasons why I really liked Wolfman. Obviously, Lee Winnell, the director. I loved Upgrade. If you haven't seen Upgrade, folks, film that Lee Winnell directed probably about 5 or 6 years ago. It's an absolutely fantastic ride. This sci-fi kind of horror thriller where he plays a guy whose body's taken over by an implant. I think he's like, if I remember right now, it's a while since I've seen it. He ends up being a quadriplegic and he ends up having a chip implanted in him, which goes a bit mental and starts taking over his body and causing him to do all sorts of things. It's very much like the idea of Venom, with him being able to communicate with this thing that's inside his body. But the violence in it was incredible. And it's such a really kind of cool, low budget, unique little story. But Wolfman, I loved everything leading up to it. I loved all the promotion for it, the teases. And then the film, when it came along, was smaller than what I anticipated. But I really did like it because it gave us a unique look at this guy's transformation. Now, it wasn't the kind of transformation that we get in The Howling or the American Wolf in London. This was more like an illness. And I remember one moment whereas his vision's starting to fail him and his hearing starting to fail him, which is what happens because he's transforming into this beast. You know, a wolf would not be able to understand what we're saying. And so you get that playing out on screen. Also, the vision that the wolf has is different to what a human's vision is. And having been through, on a few occasions, dementia in our family, my wife really kind of lent into it and said, look, this almost feels like what happened to my parents, you know, when they were starting to get really quite seriously ill with dementia, that kind of not being able to understand, things sounded jumbled up, you know, everything in their head is just kind of all over the place and they're not able to kind of piece things together like a normal person. And yeah, as Brett Patrick says, yeah, illness and a slow process. That's what it's like in this film. And I really liked it for that. I liked that he took a different angle rather than just being bitten by a wolf and then howling at the moon and fingernails coming out and the head transforming, that sort of thing. It was a slow descent into this transformation, this as Brett Patrick says, this illness that he got. And we saw every stage of it. And I applaud him for that. I think he really looked at it from a different angle and people didn't get it a lot of the time, or didn't like it, I should say. I don't want to kind of patronize anyone. People just didn't like it. But I did. I saw something there that was different, and I really enjoyed it for that. So yeah, so my number, where are we now? I think it's number 7 movie of this year so far is Wolfman. And Jim Bob says, I enjoyed the new Wolfman, pleasantly surprised. Thank you, Jim Bob. And Tony's here as well from the Wigan Cult Film Club. Evening, Darren. Evening, sir. And Evil Alex says, it's also kind of like The Fly. It is. It is. That's the way I saw it. It's exactly the way I saw it. Right, next. A movie I only watched for the first time the other night. Novocaine. Jack Quaid again. Jack Quaid's twice in my top 10. This nerdy guy who works in a bank. He's got a kind of, you know, middle management job in a bank. He also has a condition whereas he can't feel pain, which has kind of affected him all his life. And he strikes up a relationship with a bank teller, played by Amber Midthunder, who was in Prey, if you remember that film, the straight-to-streaming Predator film. There's a bank robbery, a huge shootout. She gets held hostage, taken away. The cops are all shot, lying in the streets, and he decides to tail the assailants himself because he has this. He's impervious to pain. I was shocked at this film. I know we saw a lot in the in the trailers that were put out there, but I had no idea it was going to be as violent and torturous as it actually is. There are some really nasty scenes of torture in this because obviously he can't feel the pain. He has to pretend to feel the pain when he's being tortured, just so he can appease the assailants. And there's scenes of him having his fingernails ripped out. There are scenes of him being slowly stabbed and things like that. There's a scene where he goes into a house which is booby-trapped and he falls foul to all the booby traps in the house. It's great fun. It really is great fun. He's terrific in it as Jack Quaid. Sorry, my phone's ringing. 1 second. And it's well worth a watch. If you're a horror fan, if you love great makeup effects and things like that, then I think Novocaine's the film for you. It's incredibly intense action picture and should deserve to do a hell of a lot better. It was released on the 28th of March this year, and I don't know why. People just didn't go and see it. It got great reviews, 81% with the critics, 84% with audiences. It's certified fresh. It's fairly low budget, only 18 million, but it's well worth a watch. It really is. It seemed to get ignored for some reason. Box office in the US, it did, I think it's done globally about 33 million by the looks of things. Only opened to 8 million and then topped out around about 19.9 million. Deserved to do better. I don't know whether people were gambling on Jack Quaid being more of a star than what he is at this moment in time. Obviously, people know him from The Boys and Scream, things like that. But I think the guy's got a future. I really do. I think he's terrific in this film. Zara says she gave it a 4.5 on Letterboxd. Yeah, I don't blame you. It's really good. It was great fun. Brett Patrick says Jack Quaid is having a good run. His next release called Neighborhood Watch looks interesting. Okay, I'll have a look out for that. And Darth Martow says Amber Midthunder was incredible in Prey. Yeah, she's great in that film. The man is in a lot of brutal films since The Boys. Yeah, he's carving out a bit of a niche for himself, isn't he? Okay, next is a movie that I'm not going to talk about too much because I think you should discover this film for yourself. This film didn't really take a lot of money. I think it's only done about 30 million worldwide, 39 million worldwide, I think it is, looking at my notes. It was quite a big budget movie in terms of its A-list cast. But the less you know about this film, the better. So I'll just talk about it briefly. Black Bag, Steven Soderbergh's Black Bag. He brought 2 films out around the same time. Presence, The Ghost Story, and then Black Bag, which stars, who's in it now? It was Michael Fassbender, Naomi Harris, Cate Blanchett, Pierce Brosnan's in there as well, I think I remember. And it's a very neat little spy thriller along the lines of the Harry Palmer films that came out, the Michael Caine Harry Palmer films that came out in the sort of 60s, 70s, and 80s, I think. Very, very cool, about a guy working for a... who's he working for now? Let me just have a look. He's an intelligence agent who gets a list of people that they feel are moles within the agency, and one of them turns out to be his own wife. I'll leave it at that. It's a terrific little film, and very short as well. It's only 90 minutes. Oh, there we go. Brett Patrick said, I enjoyed it. It's a quick watch, only around 90 minutes, yeah. You're in and out with it. But the performances, the look and feel of it, it's very sexy looking. The cast's very sexy. It's stylish. The clothes, all of it. It's the score, everything about it just oozed cool. And yeah, a really, really cool, neat little story. So definitely recommend it. But that's all I'll say about this film. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. Another film that I just watched recently, which is my number 765. I think this is my 5th. Is this my number 5? 1 second. Let me just count them down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. No, number 4 is Last Breath. This is based on the Netflix documentary that came out a year or two ago about 3 guys who are diving off, the deep sea divers off the coast of Scotland. And part of their job involves them having to come out of a diving bell and do repair work on a facility that's on the ocean floor. There's a huge storm, and one of the guys is separated from his airline and just drifting. And one of the other guy on the bell is Woody Harrelson. He's like the senior diver. There's another guy on there played by what was his name now? Simu Liu. That's it. He's the Asian guy in the middle on the poster, who's kind of an experienced diver. And then you have the sort of the newbie played by Finn Cole, who is the guy that gets separated from them. And the last thing that Simu Liu tells him is that go to this point here and I'll come and find you. He's separated for about 40 minutes without air. And it's about the fight to get it. Well, it becomes what they think is a recovery operation to get his body back. The story's true. It's an absolute miracle. I don't know how this guy survived. It's incredibly tense, incredibly well shot, a huge budget for this. It's a very small British story, I think, but a huge budget for a British film. Is around about 24 million for a British movie. And yeah, I'm not, how did it perform? I don't know. It's done about 23, 24 million worldwide. It deserves to do a lot better. It's so well made, incredibly tense, and I think you should take a chance on it. Another one that's around about 90 minutes as well, in and out. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 80% with the critics and 91% with the audience. So definitely worth an hour and a half of your time. Jordan says, really enjoyed Last Breath. Pretty harrowing true story. It is. It's a miracle. I honestly don't know. I think I hope I'm not spoiling this by, if you've seen it's kind of a well-known case. There's been a huge documentary about it. This is obviously the film of the documentary. But they seem to think that the extreme cold that he was in and the depth preserved him and enabled him to survive. There's nothing wrong with the guy at all. Within 2 weeks, he was back down there diving again. So it had no effect on him, but still he was starved of oxygen for 40 minutes. It's insane. It really is. Okay, next. Don't laugh. Flow won Best Animated Movie at the Oscars this year. Was one of my favorite films of this year. I think in some countries it may have been released last year, but certainly in the UK it was released this year over here. I saw this over Christmas. Was in total bits watching it. The story of a cat who's caught up in this massive flood. And befriends a dog, a bird, and a capybara, is it? They call them sort of giant hamster type things. And they all help each other out to survive. The animation is absolutely beautiful. Alex says he's not heard of it. You should check it out. It's Lithuanian, actually, I think. And these guys beat out the likes of Aardman to win this year's Oscars, Best Animated Picture, and Pixar and all those other guys. It's absolutely fantastic. And you should stick around. If you do end up watching it, stick around for the very last credit of the movie. But yeah, incredibly tense little cute animated picture, which with animation like I've never seen before. It really does look different, and we'll come back to it shortly, actually. But yeah, Flow is my third best release, third favorite film of the year so far. Number 2 is Warfare. Alex Garland's. He directed this along with either a SEAL or a Ranger that was involved in the incident. But it's about a bunch of American troops in. Let me just get this right. I don't want to, it's in Iraq. And it's almost like it has like a documentary feel to it. There's no score in this film whatsoever. They're trapped in this compound they're being bombarded from either side. A very, very similar sort of story to the likes of Black Hawk Down, or what was the Michael Bay one? 13 Hours. Very similar to that. But this is more realistic than either of them. You almost feel like you're trapped with these guys, the way that he's filmed it. It's very, very, it's almost like a documentary-like feel. And the fact that it has no score at all with this film just makes it feel that little bit more realistic and harrowing. Again, a really short movie, 90 minutes in and out. It's well worth an hour and a half of your time. It is so, I guess in some ways life affirming, but also horrifying as well. Yeah. And yeah, you're right. No, 13 Hours is a great film. But for me, this one stood above them. I wouldn't ever want to be caught in a situation like these guys were. There's a point in the film where they actually bring in real soldiers as well. I think it's about midway through. They bring in real soldiers that I think were involved in the actual situation. They all play parts in it as well. Yeah, the incident happened about 18 years ago. Jonathan Ball says, I still need to see Warfare. Numerous combat vet friends say it's good. Yeah, I think because so many real combat veterans were involved in the making of the film in terms of directing and in advisory capacity, and also, like I said, playing roles in the film as well, that it's got this kind of seal of approval. It's well worth a watch. And Brandon says, I love when a film is confident enough not to have a score. No Country for Old Men did that very well. Did it not have a score? I totally forgotten about that. I mean, I've only seen the film once, but wow, yeah. And Evil Alex says, respect to all soldiers out there. Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Number 1, my favorite film of the year so far. Technically isn't my favorite film of the year so far, because my favorite film of the year so far is one of the films I've been lucky enough to be part of. But other than that, it is Sinners. Sinners was, I was lucky enough to go to the UK premiere of Sinners, and I was blown away by it. I was blown away by a couple of things. One, the director, who spent so much time before the film talking about it on the red carpet, and he's so charming, so engaging, has a way of being able to talk to his audience without patronizing or but being able to make people understand the filmmaking process in a very easy way. If you look online, he's done a video on movie formats, IMAX, Super 35, all sorts of different movie formats. And the way that he lays it out is so easy for anybody to understand. I think he's a real talent, and what he did with this film was incredible. The different ways that he shot, he shot in IMAX, he shot in film as well, and it really adds a depth to this film that I've not seen before. He also celebrates music a hell of a lot in this film. Music throughout the ages. And there's one scene in particular whereas he just blows you away with the way that he demonstrates the evolution of music over time. And it really does, I think, cement him as one of the best directors out there at the moment. I think that if Warners look after this guy, he could be their new Nolan. I think he's that talented. He really is. The story, even though it's a story that in some respects we can say we've seen before, he just adds so much class to it, so much gravitas. It's the performances that he gets out of certain people. I thought before I saw this film, I thought Jack O'Connell was pretty much done. I thought people had had enough of him. You know, he was the movies that he was doing were becoming a little bit, he wasn't on our big screens as much anymore. He was doing TV and things like that. This has brought him back, and he's terrific in this film, as is Michael B. Jordan, who we've seen people, the Monkey, Tom Hardy in Legend, play twins before. And I think this is possibly the best portrayal of twins by one actor. There are points in this movie whereas you totally forget that it's the same actor playing both roles. In fact, after just a couple of minutes, you forget. And so hats off to Michael B. Jordan as well. I thought he was absolutely terrific in this. I love a movie as well that kind of pivots halfway through and turns itself on its head. And that's exactly what this does. And you know it's coming. You know, we knew before going into this that it was going to happen, but it was just to what extent. And it really does have that kind of from Dusk Till Dawn vibe. It's a cross between From Dusk Till Dawn, Crossroads, and even like The Color Purple. It's a great movie, and I've only seen it the once, but I can't wait for the steelbook that I've ordered to arrive, and then I can enjoy it again. Really, really does work as a movie. Let me see what people are saying about that here. Zara says, still sits as my number one film this year. Absolutely loved every single thing about it. Alan says, love Sinners. From Dusk Till Dawn meets The Color Purple. Have pre-ordered the steelbook. Yep, so have I, buddy. Zara says, I think on a very basic level, it's comparable to Brothers, a bar, but comparing the two does neither justice. Brandon says, Ryan Coogler's video on film formats was everything they teach you in the first year at film school. If you ever want to know about aspect ratios, watch that video. It's amazing. And it's amazing how much traction that video's got as well for a subject that a lot of people might find a little dull. He makes it fascinating. Zara says, the layers upon layers that exist within Sinners is mind-blowing. K-Rock says, yes, Darren, Sinners was incredible. The one-shot scene traveling through music movements of the past during that insane blues performance was felt in my bones. I don't blame you. It's terrific. Jonathan said, I had such high hopes for Sinners, but I thought it was drawn out. Acting was good. Villain was good. Just had to fast forward through the movie for a plot. Should have done more with the World War I background. Okay. Brandon Collins says, there are certainly comparisons to be made with From Dusk Till Dawn, but this film is Oscar caliber on multiple levels. I suspect it gets a ton of nominations. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Justin saw the movie in theaters twice. 52 people in here at the moment, folks. Thank you very much. Evil Alex says, my favorite portrayal of twins is still Arnold and Danny DeVito. My Junkie Geordie, I'm really looking forward to Sinners. Is there a release date for a DVD or Blu-ray in England? Yeah, I think it's the end of this month. Yeah, I think it's like July 28th or something like that. Chess says, I do think Sinners was a good film. Sinners was great, says CM. Unlike my mum and stepdad after From Dusk Till Dawn, I've never seen a more angry people after a cinema trip. Oh, really? Okay. Chester Frank says, it does have From Dusk Till Dawn vibes. And Mike Chunky Geordie says, I wish I could do the cinema still, but loads of people give me anxiety attacks and they don't allow Ziggy. You want to take your dog to the cinema? They do dog-friendly screenings some places. I could get him registered as a support dog, but don't know how. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. So that was so just going back through them, it was Sinners was number 1, Warfare number 2, Flow number 3, Last Breath number 4, Black Bag number 5, Novocaine 6, Wolfman 7, Heart Eyes 8, Companion 9, and The Monkey at number 10. We take that off. I'm just going to take that off the screen as well. Right, so I have a couple of boxes that have arrived this week, and I held on to them for the live stream. My wife was getting, she said, well, when we can do these boxes because they've been in the hall like 5 days. Can I unbox them? Because I want to throw the boxes out. I was like, can you just leave them? I want to do something with them. So here we go. First one is this one here. Let's do a bit of that. I hope it's not all those polystyrene things all over the place. Seems well wrapped. Okay, so there's a bit of a story behind this. So I pre-ordered the Jurassic Park steelbooks that came, and they were niggling me when I ordered them. You know, there's two new ones. There's one that has Jurassic Park 1 to 3, and then there's Jurassic World 1 to 3. They were niggling me because I just thought they looked so naff. That I should have brought a picture up to show you, but the covers of them were just dreadful, absolutely dreadful. And I just the closer it got to the release date, I just thought there's £50 for each one of these, and I'm not interested. They look terrible on my shelf. Everybody's complaining about how bad they look. So I sort of did a bit of digging around, and I found out that just a couple of years ago, they did bring a nice box set of Jurassic Park out with all the titles in there. And I found a sealed one somewhere, and it just arrived just before the weekend. I'm going to open it here so I can show you exactly what they're like. Bear with me. I'm not a massive fan of the Jurassic World films, but if you're going to have the first 3 films, you might as well have the rest one. There we go. That looks so much better than the version that's just come out over the last few days. Just see if I can. Now there are a few little sacrifices to this, which are, I think that the new ones have an Atmos track, which these don't, but they do have the DTS track. But taking them all out, I'll just show you. There we go, that's the first film. Second film, and they look so much more classier than these recent ones. Here we go. Jurassic World. Fallen Kingdom. I'll probably do a separate video on this and go into what's on here, but and then Dominion, which was a terrible film, but you get it anyway. So yeah, so much more classier than what they've brought out over the last few days. And I know there's a 7-disc there's a 7-disc box set coming out with a new film on it, but I didn't know that until this morning. Already got this. I'll order the steelbook for the 7th film separately. But yeah, there we go. So much better than the 2 that have just been released. The triple discers or whatever they are. There's dreadful artwork on the front of them. And then the second thing that came was something that I've been waiting for now for, God, it must be 6 months ago since they announced it. So I'm seeing this for the first time. Oh. It's a box within a box. So it comes in another box, which I'll open up. What's that? Bond box set. So I'm a huge, well, not the biggest Bond fan, but I do like Bond films. And it's going to be very exciting to see these. I mean, even just looking at the recent TV broadcasts of the Sean Connery Bond films, they look incredible. They really do. Just try and take this off so you can see the... Now, the steelbooks come in for a bit of stick online because obviously when it comes to steelbooks, a lot of people, me included, like to see the original artwork. But these have pictures of Sean on there in his toweling shirt. So that one's Dr. No. From Russia with Love. And it's a shame, like I say, it is a shame that they didn't use the original artwork because some of that stuff looks really cool. That's quite nice. Goldfinger. Thunderball. They're just like publicity shots. It's there he is on his backpack. You Only Live Twice. There's Donald Pleasance, Blofeld. And then finally, Diamonds Are Forever. Show you the... There we go. So I'm really looking forward to diving into those when I get back from holiday. Not 100% happy with the artwork on them, but hopefully they'll bring out the Roger Moore one soon as well, and then move on to Dalton and Brosnan and Lazenby and finally Daniel Craig. I don't know how long it's going to take them to do it all, but there's no sign of the Roger Moore one yet as far as I can see, but yeah, looking forward to those coming out. Okay, right, let me just move this out of the way. Still got a little bit of time. Just quickly going to talk you through what my favorite physical media releases have been this year. Just Brandon says, Connery aged so fast in those 4 years between You Only Live Twice. Yeah, he looks a lot older in Diamonds Are Forever, doesn't he? And certainly Never Say Never Again, but then that's not official. Yeah, that's the one I'm really looking forward to, the Roger Moore one. That was the Bond that I kind of grew up with, you know, during the sort of late 70s and early 80s. Right, so my 10 favorite, I think they're all 4Ks. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah, my 10 favorite 4Ks of this year so far. I mentioned this before. This is an honorable mention, but this just arrived this morning, and I didn't want to include it because I haven't had a chance to unwrap it and have a look at it yet, but it's Flow. Beautiful little movie, and this 4K box set from Curzon Film just arrived this morning. You can see that lovely animation there. Very unique, very different. And like I say, I urge anybody that likes animated movies, and, you know, it's quite thought-provoking as well. Definitely check it out. Check it out. Okay, my number 10 is this. The Golden Child. Vinegar Syndrome released this over the past few weeks, and I managed to get hold of a copy. And I love it when they take a kind of, and not even an 80s classic. The Golden Child, in terms of Eddie Murphy movies, was a bit of a disaster. But they've really made a beautiful little package out of this. A nice little embossed titling on there. If you open it up, And there we have the golden child herself, as we all thought it was a boy for years and years, but the golden child is actually a girl, which only really came out when they did a reunion for the film. But yeah, nice booklet with it. And then inside, the Ianti dagger. That's the, God almighty, I've got stuff everywhere here. There's the actual Blu-ray. Sorry, 4K. That's the slip, the dagger on one side, and the bird and the glass of water on the other. So yeah, really nice little package. Lots of extras that, oh, there's Charles Dance on the back as well. Very nice little package that Vinegar Syndrome have put together there. Okay. Next up, one of my favorites of this year, Nosferatu, a really, really cool looking steelbook that Universal came out with earlier this year. And it looks and sounds absolutely stunning. It really does. I did a video on this when it first came out. Show you inside. Blu-ray and 4K inside. Well worth getting if you can still get hold of it. I don't think you can. I think they sold out fairly quickly, but yeah, if you're a fan of steelbooks, I think especially the way that it reflects off the light and everything, it does look fantastic. Next up is Second Sight Scanners. I was blown away by this. Again, they had some newly commissioned artwork done. I would have liked to have seen the original artwork on here, but Second Sight tend to kind of do their own stuff. And again, just absolutely tons of stuff in terms of books and the 4K Blu-ray. I think the actual Blu-ray, yeah. So you get the 4K and a Blu-ray in here. Tons of extras, which I sat down and went through. A limited edition, a 120-page book on the movie Scanners with all sorts of essays in there, which is just there. A really, really fancy box set on a movie which, when it first came out, I guess being 7-year-old when I first saw it, was it 1980 or 81? 7 or 8 years old when I first saw it. I probably wasn't intellectually old enough to understand what was going on. So it's a movie that I've, gone back to over the years and really enjoyed. It's quite a unique little concept and some amazing FX work. I think it's Chris Walas. I'm pretty sure Chris Walas, who did The Fly, did the effects work on Scanners, if I remember rightly. I think it was. Brandon, am I right with that? I think it is. The exploding head and all that kind of stuff. But I also think that Dick Smith was there in an advisory capacity on this film as well. So yeah, a really cool movie. And a great box set. Second Sight, again, the Rolls Royce of 4K releases. They really do a good job. A movie, John Carpenter movie that I hadn't seen for some time, came out on 4K just recently, and this really, really smart red steelbook that they brought out for it, Starman. I did a video on this. Nobody watched it. Nobody cared, I don't think. But it is a really, really nice film. Jeff Bridges, Karen Allen, died a death at the box office because it was a couple of years after E.T. and people wanted an alien rather than a man that's kind of an alien that takes on the form of Karen Allen's husband. But an amazing performance from Jeff Bridges that, he was nominated for a Oscar, I believe, as well for this. So if you haven't seen Starman and you like John Carpenter, you like Jeff Bridges and Karen Allen, who's fantastic in it, give it a shot. And also the score, which Carpenter didn't do, and the goddamn guy that did it escapes me now. The score is fantastic as well. An amazing swell in the score. It's fantastic. Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, Chris Wayless and Dick Smith. Yeah. So yeah, Starman, highly recommended as well. One of my favorite releases of this year. Really does look cool. Another one, Taking a Pelham 123. As I was chatting about this on TSL the other night, Joseph Sargent, who directed Jaws 4, I guess 12 years before that, he directed The Taking of a Pelham 123, one of the best thrillers of the 1970s, I think. They've done a great job on this of Arrow with this 4K. I think they did a Blu-ray a year or so ago, but now they've done this this 4K version, and it's terrific. And they've managed to cobble together a series of extras from over the various different releases, and it's well worth a watch. If you haven't seen this film, it is terrific, and the ending is absolutely so cool. Jack Neach, thank you very much, Brandon. Thank you. And Chester. Thank you, Chester. Yeah, well worth a watch if you haven't seen it. If you love 70s action thrillers, it's got a great look. Walter Matthau, Martin Balsam, Robert Shaw, all these kind of like actors that look like dads in this movie. It wouldn't happen today. Pot-bellied blokes running around with guns and things like that. It's great fun. How it used to be. Nowadays, it wouldn't be. Everybody would look like, I don't know, what's his face from The Running Man, the new film. Glenn Powell, that's him. Another film, a Blu-ray that I reviewed the other day, which they've done a terrific job on. A little light on the extras. It would have been nice for them to put some new extras together, but the transfer is fantastic. Not the best transfer of the year, but it still does look good for a movie that's coming up on its 40th anniversary, and that's Lethal Weapon. They did a bit of a weird thing with their eyes. Can you see? Like there's embossed their eyes or something. But yeah, this comes out of this slipcase here, this sort of see-through slipcase. The only problem with this is that the actual steelbook itself is fugly. Look at that. That's what sits inside. But if you look closely, you can see that the bullet holes are actually debossed or embossed, whichever way around it is. But yeah, a god-awful... I'm glad... I wouldn't have bought that on its own, I don't think, but I think it looks fine in this packaging here. I'll just try and get this back in. There we go. So Lethal Weapon, definitely one of my favorites of 2025 so far. 2 films in my number 3 slot, and I just can't wait. They keep delaying the next one. The 3rd film in this series keeps getting delayed, and I think it's mid-August that it now comes out. And it's the Dollars trilogy. Fistful of Dollars and For a Few Dollars More. Arrow have done an amazing job on these. They are terrific. And Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was due out, I think, a couple of weeks ago, but it's been pushed back twice now. I guess they want to get it just perfect. With these films, A Fistful of Dollars looks better, but A Few Dollars More is the better film, I think. I actually might think that For a Few Dollars More is the best film of the 3, but I'll reserve judgment until I've watched the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, because I haven't seen it for so long. But both of them are terrific movies. And again, Arrow have done an amazing job on these. Just terrific. Second is, and hats off to Umbrella. Umbrella Entertainment, the Australian firm who put this Terrifier box set together. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Terrifier. I enjoy them. I love what Damien Leone's done for the genre. But they made this absolutely beautiful box set of all 3 films, and they managed to put it together before the UK did. And the UK still haven't done it. I think you've got the first 2 that just got released, and then the 3rd one's out separately. But this box set called Art Attack is Insanely good. A ton of art cards. A book that you could murder somebody with. Look at the thickness of this book that you get with it. With all this kind of behind the scenes stuff and pictures and making of and all that kind of stuff. Too much for me to show you now, but that slips in there nicely. A ton of art cards, all different, you know, pictures from the set and what else have we got here? Across all 3 films. Yeah, a really, really, like I say, too many for me to show you. And I think a load of stickers as well. You get a load of stickers. What am I going to do with them? There we go. But yeah, this came with all sorts of crap came in the box. There was Lego. There was a VHS of Terrifier 3, which is on my shelf out there. Came with it as well. But, you know, let me just see if I can pull out these Blu-ray, the 4Ks. There's Terrifier 3. Terrifier 2. And the original Terrifier. And this, like I say, I managed to get my hand on these way before they came out in this country. I mean, Terrifier, the original Terrifier hasn't been out in this country on Blu-ray until the last few weeks. Oh, sorry, on 4K until the last few weeks. So yeah, Umbrella Entertainment's Art Attack box set. Well done, guys. It's such a great release. And then finally, my favorite. Let me just have a look at the chat before I continue. It's a good question. A lot of people are asking this at the moment. Darren, do you think the box office peaked with Terrifier 3 or will 4 be bigger? I suggest it might have peaked. I just think that people have gone out now to see what it's all about. And I think it has its audience. But I think what you got with the last film was a lot of people testing themselves and probably won't bother going back. Yeah, I'd like to think it will be bigger. I think it will either be as big or slightly below. I think it's the 4th film, definitely diminishing returns now, and felt like that with Part 3 to me. I didn't think it was the best one. I thought Part 2 was the best one. I wish him all the best for sure. I hope it is massive, but something inside me tells me that everyone that wants to test themselves with this franchise has probably done it with Terrifier 3. Yeah. Zara says, I think if they get the marketing right, 4 could be bigger. Could be. Rented Terrifier 3 from the library? They still have, was it a VHS in the library? That was when I was a kid, they used to have VHSs in the library. Rented Terrifier 3 from the library wasn't even worth that much. Okay. Pat says, hey folks, that Terrifier set looks amazing. Yeah, it's a really cool set, Pat. It really is. Any other opinions on Terrifier? Don't care for the Terrifier films at all. Yeah, a lot of people don't. It's interesting. Craig Jack says the spine on them are cool too, forming a little picture at the bottom of the spine. Is that right? Oh, you're talking about the Dollars trilogy. Yes. Yeah. Okay, number 1. My favorite release of this year, and it is because it just looks absolutely stunning. I was staggered by how good this looks. One of my favorite films as well. So older than me, this damn film. 1971, Dirty Harry. The box set that Warner's brought out in the UK, they really did an amazing job on this. You know, looked like it was filmed yesterday, apart from the big hair and the flared trousers. Inside, you get this really beautiful steelbook. There you go. You also get a bunch of art cards and guff and all that kind of stuff inside as well. But yeah, if you really want to test your system in terms of picture quality for old movies, this one is incredible. Right from the moment it hits the screen with the you know, the LAP, the San Francisco badge, and then you get the sort of cenotaph thing, and then it cuts to Scorpio with his rifle zooming in on the girl in the swimming pool. It just looks incredible. The sky looks so blue and beautiful. Right the way, I mean, there's a scene in this film, and I talked about this when I reviewed it. It's the robbery scene in the street, when the fire hydrant gets knocked over and Harry Callahan walks through the water spray as it's going up in the air. And as he walks past the camera, you can see the beads of water on his jacket rolling down his back. It's something I've never, ever been able to notice before when watching this movie. And I've seen it a lot of times. It looks beautiful. And I think people are going to have to go some to beat this. It really does look that good. I was staggered. I really was. It's taking into account the fact that it's 54 years old as well. There's not a blemish on it. It really does look fantastic. So that's it. That is it. Number 1 was Dirty Harry. Number 2 was the Terrifier box set. 3, the Dollars trilogy, or the 2 that have come out so far. Lethal Weapon at number 4. Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3 at number 5. Starman at 6. Scanners at 7. Nosferatu at 8. Golden Child at 9. Have I missed something there? Yeah. No, that's right. And Flow at 10 I put in there, didn't I? Yeah. That's it, folks. Those are my 2 rankings. Thank you for joining me. I have to go because it's dinner time almost here, and I am starting to melt as my aircon's been switched off. I'll probably have something out on Monday or Tuesday next week. I've got a few things that I want to talk about that have arrived or are arriving. And also Frank and I will be getting together next week at some time as well. But yeah, thank you for joining me, folks. I really do appreciate it. It's we've over 50 people watching, which has been brilliant. It really has. I really do appreciate all the support, both with the live streams and the videos. And as I said earlier, the Video Nasty stuff on a Saturday afternoon is going to come back. Like I say, I've got 2 people lined up to come on already, and maybe I'll get some more as well. But yeah, thank you guys. Absolute pleasure spending time with you, and I shall speak to you soon. Cheers.